everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another Reviews After Midnight. And on this video, I want to review and discuss a film called, and I got my trusty sheet here. I'm not going to deviate too far from it like I have at the very beginning. Film title, we are going to be discussing and reviewing a movie called The Snowman. And this is the Blu-ray. It's the Blu-ray DVD digital. It does have its slip jacket. I made sure to pick it up with that slip jacket. Here's its digital. We got the DVD, Blu-ray. There are special features, which we're going to get into in a moment. So I'm going to put this up here. Let me make sure I get this where I want it. Okay. So, film title, The Snowman. This is also where you can include a star rating. So, a little bit of background on this is a couple years ago, I was looking for a good kind of like serial killer, Seven, Silence of the Lambs type movie. And I came across The Snowman. And I thought, okay, let me check it out. I watched it and I did not like it. But I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It's shot in Norway. So it's a Norwegian movie, but it's like an American Norwegian movie. So everybody, speaks English and I guess would kind of be like the girl with the dragon tattoo type of remake, where Americans would make it and it's but it would all be in English type of thing. And I thought that's fine. But the locations are absolutely beautiful. The film is muted. So the whites aren't white, like the yellows aren't yellow, the blues aren't blue. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay that the director of photography decided to shoot it that way, because the landscapes, the locations, the buildings, the snow is absolutely gorgeous. It made me just think, I want to go there. I want to go to Norway. I want to go to these locations, and I want to just experience being there because it is so beautiful. And later down the road, I thought, well, why don't I pick the film up? I would obviously want it on Blu-ray. And so if I was going to be getting it, I'd also want it slipcase. So one day when I was at Zia Records, I found it. It was really cheap, and I picked it up. I then rewatched it and went, you know what, this isn't that bad. You know what? I don't really. It's confusing. The beginning of the film is very confusing, and which we'll get into here. But overall, I liked the movie. So I thought, and then later, cut to now, I thought, well, let me do this as a Reviews After Midnight. And so I watched it again. Liked it even more, still found it confusing, unsatisfying ending, but still thought the film was beautiful. It's got great performances in it. It's well directed. It's well acted. Those locations are beautiful. The music is good. And I thought, okay, this is good. But now I have heard bad things about this film. So I'm going to go look at some YouTubers that I trust for reviewing movies. Do we see everything, eye to eye? No. but overall, I trust their opinions. So I did. I checked out four different reviewers, and one of them hated it. The other one thought it was okay with good, um, like some good music, some some good photography, some good editing, good performances. Another one, yeah, didn't like it either. And then the one that really, and I'll name this one, is Midnight's Edge. Uh, they broke down the production problems with the movie, and then there's a review, and the person who was reviewing it is actually Norwegian and had like a little extra part in the movie. And so I learned a lot about the movie from these people. And what they say is in complete contrast to, like, the opposite, just the total opposite to what was said in these behind the scenes. So as far as leaving a star rating, if I had to do five snowmen, I would give it three. I recommend it. If you haven't seen it, it's a good travelogue video for Norway. I would see it just for that. I mean, every shot is absolutely beautiful. One of the reviewers, well, Jeremy Jans, I'll mention him, called it dog shit. And I normally trust his reviews. Uh, Not all of them, but normally I do. And he had gotten some stuff wrong. Um, Martin Scorsese is listed as one of the executive producers. I guess from the Midnight's Edge one is that he was going to be directing it, but he fell back to executive producer. The editor of the movie is uh, Thelma Schumacher, and Thelma Schumacher is Scorsese's main editor. So the film is edited very well. He said it was edited like crap. I do not believe that at all. He also said that there were a lot of continuity errors. Um, no, I did not see any continuity errors. Um, so that really confused me. He also, the lead character's name would be, if you were to pronounce it in America, would be Harry Hole, just Hole. And that's not how you pronounce it in Norway. It's like Ola. So it'd be like Harry Ola. And that's and so some of the reviewers made fun of the name Hole, but that's not the name of the character. And there's a lot of very traditional, kind of like Scandinavian, uh, Norway things that are within this book. So the Snowman is based on a book, and I know I'm gonna mispronounce the author's name because he's Norwegian, but Joe Nesbo, and I know that's probably like Ho Nesba or something. So I apologize for mispronouncing his name, but Midnight's Edge did do a whole history on the author, and there's 11 books in this series. The Snowman is number 7, and if the film is a hit, they're going to continue to do more of the books. So let's go back to the sheet, because I could continue just comparing what the critics say to what the filmmakers say on the Blu-ray. So okay, so it said, what did you expect from the film? I just wanted, like I said, a good thriller, a good kind of Silence of the Lambs 7 type of movie. Did I get that? Kind of, sort of, to a degree. The film, and let's see here, I forget if it asks about stars. Uh, so the people that are in this, so you have like Michael Fassbender is the lead. You got my love, Rebecca Ferguson. You get like Val Kilmer, J.K. Simmons, and it's got more people too. Charlotte Gainsbourg is in this. Toby Jones. Uh, and I'm gonna say her name wrong. Chloe Sevgini. Um, yeah, and then it says here, I'm looking on Wikipedia. The author who wrote the novel on which the film is based was supposed to have a small cameo, but his scenes were cut. So that kind of sucks. Um, the from so a lot of the negativity that is attached to this film is that it doesn't make a lot of sense. What some of the critics, especially Midnight's Edge, pointed out is, and this is completely the director's fault. This is the filmmaker's fault, the screenwriter's fault, the producer's fault. When they were editing the movie, they realized that they did not shoot 10 to 15% of the movie. They did go back and reshoot some scenes. You could see that they shot, I believe, in London. There are green screen scenes. I believe that's the London shoots. Everything else was pretty much shot on location in like two different areas. And that would be, see if I can quickly find it here. Okay, so I'll just read what Wikipedia says here. Um, I'll say the director of this, Thomas Alfredson, has done some films that I definitely want to see. Uh, so he did Let the Right One In, 2008. This is the original, not the remake. Won a ton of awards. I have to admit, I thought it was boring as hell. I actually like the remake better. He also did, that was 2008. He did a film called Four Shades of Brown in 2004. He did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which I believe is a remake, which I want to see. That won a bunch of awards. Then he did that was 2011, and then 2017 he did the Snowman. Then he did another film that's in a different language, so I don't know how to pronounce that. That was 2020. He hasn't made a feature film since. Television, he's done television like 1990, 1994, 99, 2000, 2005. Then he did like an internet project 2001. So he hasn't done a ton. I would probably own Let the Right One In, but man, I'm telling you, I thought it was so boring. Um, and I would definitely own Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy to kind of just complete that collection. I don't know. There's other films that I just don't know enough about. So, but it says, okay, so he's also he's the son he is the son of director and actor Hans Alfredson and brother of director Daniel Alfredson. So it looks like this is definitely a family tradition. So with the Snowman, it says, okay, so the Snowman is a 2017 British psychological thriller, directed by Thomas Alfredson. It gives the writers. The story is based on the 2007 novel of the same name. The film stars Michael Fassbender, Rebecca Ferguson, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Val Kilmer, who is obviously sick while making the movie. His voice appears to be ADR'd. It doesn't. exactly match his mouth moving. And J.K. Simmons follows Inspector Harry like Hola as he tracks a serial killer who builds snowmen at his crime scenes. Principal photography began on July 18, 2016 in Norway before moving to London and Sweden. So the Snowman premiered October 7, 2017 at the Haifa International Film Festival and was released October 14th, 2017 in the United Kingdom in Sweden, and October 20th, 2017 in the United States by Universal Pictures. The film grossed 43 million worldwide against a 35 million dollar budget, and it was widely panned by critics who called it cliched and uninvolving. Alfredson later attributed many of the film's problems to the film's rushed production schedule. Um, so it's yeah. So if the film's budget is 35 million and it only made 43, okay, great. It made back its budget with some change, but when you throw in marketing and everything else, the film bombed. It tanked, which is why we have not had a sequel to this. Uh, it's I don't think it's as bad as everybody says. The film does run 119 minutes, so it's just about 2 hours. And oh, it does list two editors here. So Thelma, I probably pronounced the name wrong. Schoonmaker. I guess it's Schoolmaker, but it's Schoonmaker. And then also Claire Simpson. So maybe Claire Simpson came in afterwards. The soundtrack is by one of my favorites, Mario Beltrami. I try with these names. Um, so it's, I just don't think it's so let's continue with this. Okay. So what did you expect from a film? Just a good taunt thriller. What type of film is it? Does it have a message? It's a thriller, you know, serial killer thriller. Does it have a message? No, not at all. It's just a thriller. What happens in the film? Does the plot make sense? Is it easy enough to follow? Is it believable? To a degree. So the film, you're with a confusing beginning. And let's look at my phone here. So I'll read you this. It says, at a remote cabin, a boy and his mother, Sarah, are visited by his abusive biological father, which we don't know at the time, a police officer named Jonas. Jonas strikes and sexually assaults Sarah, who threatens to tell Jonah's wife about their illegitimate son. That's when we find out. It's a little bit later in that opening scene. Jonas leaves, and Sarah follows in her car with her son. During the chase, she drifts into a catatonic state, letting go of the steering wheel. The boy escapes as the car crashes into a lake. The lake is frozen. Despite his pleading, his mother remains seated and sinks. So this beginning is very confusing. It's at a beautiful location. There's the lake. There's a like a solid like couple story house. It's all snow around the mountains. This person shows up. Looks like he has like those like cans that you would use for like a I don't know, for a like a barbecue. He comes in with a couple of those and it looks like he has some food. Everything seems okay. They sit at a table And the uncle, um, then, because the kid keeps calling him the uncle, the uncle is having the kid give the history of like Norway, and the kid is getting it wrong. Each time he gets it wrong, the uncle slaps the mom harder. She falls to the floor. The kid runs away. The uncle says, "You need to teach him better." The kid runs away. We then see him start to, or the uncle start to like undo his pants. So the kid goes upstairs in the next scene. He hears the uncle, which I'm guessing is only by name, otherwise he'd be having a sex, I guess, like with his sister or something. And he has sex with the mom. The mom says, "I'm going to tell your wife that the kid is actually yours." The uncle says, "Then I'll never come back." He storms out of the house. The kid doesn't want him to leave, even though this guy just like kicked the shit out of the mom and like sexually assaulted her. And the mom comes running out of the house as the uncle's car is driving away, saying, "No, please don't go. Come back. Please, please don't leave," which to me is confusing as hell. Why would you want this person in your life at all? I mean, you can't get anybody else. Buell Buell, I miss. What's in those metal jugs? Butane. I think that's what's in there. I'm slightly mispronouncing it. Sorry. Yeah, as I'm sure you could get somebody to bring that, to the house and food. I mean, they got to have a friend or something. And she's chasing him, the uncle, on the road, and then yeah, just kind of starts driving, and then goes into this kind of static, the state, and drives into the frozen lake. The kid is hitting the emergency brake, is pulling it up. The car kind of spins, and he's begging her to get out of the car. He gets out of the car, trying to open her door. She looks at him, and then just as the car goes into the lake, she drowns in the lake. And then that cuts to present day. And I think the idea is that you're supposed to think that kid is Henry, is supposed to be, Henry Hola. And it ends up not being him. And Henry is a drunk. He is, he's like an addict. He treats himself horribly. But he's but he's like a really good cop. He's one of these guys that's really good at his job. So they keep him around for that. So that's kind of what happens in the film. Is it easy to follow? Is it believable? I mean, to a degree, and I won't do spoilers. So because the group of people that are in this it's Henry and Rebecca Ferguson's character. So she's like a new cop that's been assigned to his department. So they kind of team up. Then there's Harry's, I want to say, ex-wife. They still love each other, but he's such a miserable person that they separated. Then there's her kid by a father they don't know. And Harry kind of becomes like the kid's like surrogate father. The mom of the kid is seeing somebody else, but the kid really likes Harry. So the new dad, or the new boyfriend, I guess, doesn't really have a chance. Then there's I'm guessing kind of like the captain of the police that's always covering for Henry. And there's the multiple victims. Is there anybody? Oh, Val Kilmer's character, who we see in flashbacks. At one point, I think it says something like 9 years ago. And then that's when we see the stuff with Val Kilmer investigating these same crimes. And they're now thinking that the killer is back. Because in Norway, like, serial killers are just they just don't exist. So when these things happen, it's a very big deal. Um, there's Toby Jones, who's in the flashbacks with Val Kilmer. He plays a like a different cop. So there's a fair amount of stuff going on. There's the investigation, there's the family stuff with Henry, there's the flashbacks. So there's a lot of stuff. And somewhere in here, somewhere within this 2 hour story, there's 10 to 15% of movie missing. And you do get these quick kind of 10-second flashes, maybe 30-second scenes of people in present day talking about what happened in the past with these killings and the people involved, like the police that are involved. So, is it believable to a degree? Is it easy to follow to a degree? Does the plot make sense to a degree? But the way that the killer is disposed of was very unsatisfying. Um, yeah, it was like, oh, okay, I guess that's it. I guess the movie's over. So there's, but if you look at it on a realistic level, what happens to the killer is probably what would happen. Um, it's not Lethal Weapon, it's not Hannibal Lecter, it's not Die Hard, it's not Seven, it's not something big with the killer where there's going to be a shootout or a fight, or it's not like that in this. I think it's a little more realistic, which makes it a little less satisfying and less cinematic. So, um, who are the main characters and what are they like? Hey, I just said. Um, who are the actors playing these parts? Hey, I just said. Are they good in their parts? Everybody is the somewhere along the line in this, something happened to where when the film got released internationally, um, the director was already out there kind of giving excuses for why the film is not doing well. And so you were kind of prepared if you were following that in America to a it's not going to be that great of a movie. It's probably going to be pretty much maybe like after the first night, it did make its money back and like I said some change, but that's where people are going to, those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are probably going to give it a bad word of mouth and not return for a second viewing. And then other people are going to go. Um, the what I found interesting is from watching the special features, which are, and I really would have loved audio commentary for this. It's so, and I want to read here. I'm going to read the back here. From executive producer Martin Scorsese, The Snowman is based on Joe Nesbo's, like I said, I know I'm mispronouncing his name, New York Times best-selling thriller series. When an elite crime squad's lead detective, Michael Fassbender, investigates the disappearance of a victim on the first snow of winter, he fears an elusive serial killer may be active again, because we had 9 years ago with, I'm pretty sure it was 9 years ago. Yeah, I think so. With the help of or was it 9 months? I wonder if it says. I know it was 9. Uh, uh, self-inflicted. Okay, here. It's promising. I don't want to say what, because something happens with Val Kilmer. I think it's 9 years. I think. I could be wrong. It could be 9 months. I don't remember. Um, let's see. He feels the illusion. Okay, is active again. With the help of a brilliant recruit, Rebecca Ferguson, the cop must connect decades old cold cases. So yeah, so probably yeah, probably like they say decades, but it's probably yeah, probably the 9 years to the brutal new one if he hopes to outwit this unthinkable evil before the next snowfall. So what it is that the killer is going around. He is killing when it snows. He is killing uh, mothers that have children, um, and he builds a snowman, like a sad snowman, basically, which is actually right here. It's kind of hard to see, but it's right there. Uh, at the murder scenes. So the bonus features on this are cast of characters, creating Joe Nesbo's world, the Snowman Killer, Norwegian landscape, and stunt files the sinking lake. So, like I said, this is what I find interesting is what they said on the DVD is it's all positive. The director is positive. The writer of the book is interviewed. He's positive. A couple of the producers are very positive. The director is very positive. The cast is very positive. They do show something where if the director's saying that they didn't have time to film, there is one scene where they're shooting way up on a. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. It's by a power plant, and they only have like a few hours to shoot, and then that's it. It's like 11 to 2, and that's it. The power plant has to go back on. So that might have been things like that that did cut into time because if you're not done shooting, oh well, you had the time frame, and if you couldn't get it, you could maybe get it someplace else, use a green screen or whatever, or you just got to cut it. So, but everything is very positive. They said that where they shot, the locations that were there were very, very happy about them shooting. They let them shoot very easily because of the author and who he is. Because he also used to be a well football over there, but soccer to us. He's very well known, and when he became a writer, he became even more well known and respected. So with the author, the book, and the book series, the the character, these cities were very happy to have them shoot. If they needed to have a road shut down, like a street shut down, the city would be like, "Oh yeah, hey, no problem at all. We'll just do it." So it seemed to be a very positive filming experience for people. And the behind the scenes are probably 10 minutes or less, and everybody seems to be okay with what's going on. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'm glad to see, I'm glad to see that. But when we go to the critics, the YouTube critics, um, and I could just tell you who, let me tell you who I looked at here. So, and these are people who I like. So all I gotta do is just go to history here, which is right here. So yeah, Midnight's Edge, who had mixed feelings about it. Ryan Hollinger, who I really like, he did not like it at all. There is YMS, Your Movie Sucks, who thought, good music, good editing, good locations, good cinematography, but it kind of sucked. And then the next one would be the, Jeremy Jans, who called it dog shit. But some of these people get stuff wrong in it, and which was weird is in almost every one of these, unless I'm watching a different version of the movie, they do talk about stuff that I didn't see in the movie. What they're showing in their review is, I don't know if it's just scenes from the movie or the trailer from the movie, but some of the stuff in these scenes that they're showing while they're reviewing the film are not in the movie. Uh, we see one of the characters in these scenes. It looks like she gets trapped in a bear trap. That's not in the film. There's a fish flapping on the frozen lake. That's not in the film. And there's some other shots of like Michael Fassbender talking with somebody that I did not see in the movie. And I was wide awake. So I don't know. Some of these scenes don't seem to be in there. And Midnight's Edge talks about all the production problems. So now it's the exact opposite of these special features, as they're, they the script was never finished. They during editing, they noticed the 15 to 20%, which makes no sense. They had a year and a half to until the movie came out where they could have shot these scenes. I mean, shit, if you need to film them on a green screen, do it, to make the movie make sense. Uh, According to Midnight's Edge, they did have problems shooting in these cities. That the politics that were going around really didn't want them shooting there. But according to the behind the scenes, they had no problem. So it really is this weird thing of, okay, I'm hearing one thing and hearing another. So which one is really true? I'm going to go with Midnight's Edge. Uh, they seem to be pretty right on with a lot of stuff. Obviously, the filmmakers are going to be very positive, because then the director did come out later on making excuses for the film. Um, what is the camera work like? Very good. Very good. There are some awesome shots. There's a lot of moving shots. There are some drone shots. The locations are amazing. The roads they shoot on are amazing. Um, like I said, visually, this is a feast. Um, Jeremy Jan said the editing is awful. I'm sorry, this is an Academy Award winning editor. So even if they did lose, the 15 to 20%, they didn't shoot it, the film is still going to be very well edited. They're going to do the film editor is going to do the best that they possibly can, what she can. If there are special effects, what are they like? There's a decapitation that was really good. The killer uses a device that has a wire wrapped around it, which the killer, because I'm going to try not to give too much away, basically cuts off body parts with it. So it's a device with this, like this little cable that's on it that's like kind of like, it's more like a wire, I guess, and it's really thin. And when the killer uses it, it cuts off fingers, it cuts off limbs, it cuts off, arms, legs, heads. Why, we never find out. We do find out near the end why the killer is doing this, but I don't know, it's still very confusing, and maybe that's where that 15 to 20% is. But the device that's used, they're not finding fingerprints. They're not, there's a lot of there's like a plastic piece put down so you don't see blood in some cases. There are one or two deaths that I was surprised about. The device is I think is pretty cool. Dario Argento had the like used that same idea in Trauma. Same type of device. So those effects look pretty good. There is a head that's sitting on top of a snowman that looks pretty good. Are there beautiful scenes? Every scene. Are there moments when the camera is used in interesting ways? Every scene. Yeah, the film is. If anything, it's watch it just for the visuals. Did you enjoy the film? Why or why not? I did enjoy the film, except that the story is confusing, and maybe that has to do with them not finishing the film properly. Who knows? Maybe the director had to go off and shoot something else. Um, that was the case with the Marvels. Is the director of the Marvels went to the UK to shoot another movie, and everybody criticized her for not being around, to do interviews or anything, or maybe to uh she definitely, they do mention editing with her, that she wasn't there during the editing process. Well, that film took so long to release. That film had so many reshoots, and trust me, I am not defending that movie. It's awful. That it's like, okay, I got to go to the UK. I don't know what film she was shooting in the UK, but you got to go. If you're scheduled for a date to show up to shoot a movie, you got to go. And if they're still doing reshoots and they're still, re-editing the movie, you can't, sorry, I don't hold her responsible for that at all, as some people did. I did love the film she did before that. She did the remake of Candyman, or reimagining of Candyman, whatever you want to call it, which is my favorite Candyman out of the other three Candyman films. I thought hers was the best. I love that movie. So, but hated the Marvels. There you go. But I guess my point is, if the director did have to go off and shoot something else, then maybe they couldn't do it. But looking at the time frame, and from when the Snowman was done to television and internet stuff and the other movie, it looked like there was plenty of time to do reshoots. Um, they Yeah, so there's really no excuse. Um, what were its good and bad points? Pretty much just went over all that. What scene did you particularly enjoy or remember? Why is it good? Um, some of the critics, almost all of the critics, the book, okay, so the book moves, it hustles. The movie, the director, and Midnight's Edge points this out, decided to go in a different direction, where there's not a lot of dialogue. It's more kind of like a slow burn of a movie. It's more of a visual movie. And it's pointed out that from these critics that it's boring. I did not find the film boring at all. Um, I was invested, and maybe if we did get more books, we would find out more about some of these characters. Um, but it's kind of like the Dark Tower movie to the books. You kind of have to separate, because I like the books and I like the movie. You have to separate the things. And the books for the Dark Tower are very different than what the movie is. The director of that took elements from the books, kind of made a prequel movie, kind of a best of in a way, and said, if people like this, we'll continue, we'll make the books, which was a massive mistake. Um, but visually, the film is good. It's well acted. It's well edited. The effects are good. It's so I can appreciate the film on that level. In the same way with the the Snowman, I've never read any of the books, and so I have nothing to compare it to except from what people are telling me. And if they're telling me they think it is slow as hell, and then like Midnight's Edge, it sounds like he did read the book, or the books, because he's from Norway, and those books are a very big deal. They kind of sound like they're almost, like the author is like the Tom Clancy or Lee Child or John Grisham of Norway, then he would know what he's most likely talking about. And he did say it was slow. I did not find it slow because I have nothing to compare it to. I except for that beginning and the disappointing ending, kind of everything in between, I was into. And you do have these American actors with these accents, which some work and some don't. So I enjoyed the movie, even with its flaws, because I have nothing really to compare it to except for what these people told me, you know. Um, so, yes, does it have good points? Does it have bad points? Yeah, it does. But I'm still happy to have it in my collection. Um, and were there any scenes that I particularly enjoyed? Just the looking at the snow and the mountains, the locations that they went with houses and buildings and was just absolutely beautiful. So, is there one particular scene uh, that I thought was really good? I would say no, because I just enjoyed watching the film as a whole. Um, uh, what did you particularly not enjoy? Why was it bad? Just the beginning and that ending. I mean, like I said, the ending realistically is probably how it would happen. But filmatically, it's disappointing. Um, and that beginning to me is just confusing as hell. Maybe it's explained in the book. Uh, why a kid and his mom, especially the mom who's abused and sexually assaulted, would want the uncle to come back. I don't know. I have no idea. Would you recommend this film, and to what sort of people and why? I do recommend this film. Like I said, my review would be three snowman out of five. And I recommend it to people who like Seven, like Silence of the Lambs, um, Kiss the Girls, um, any of those. It's not Saw. And I did bring up Lethal Weapon and Die Hard. So it's not action. It's 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 just a thriller, and I liked it. And if you're flipping around, on streaming and you come across it, I would recommend it, especially if you got like a big ass TV and you could see this location, these mountains of snow, even though the color's muted. And I think it was Jeremy Jans who points out that the movie looks ugly. I don't think it looks ugly. I think the saturation is intentional. And even though I would have liked to have seen, I mean, that snow would be blinding if it probably wasn't. I mean, it'd be like a nuclear storm. But I would say watch it, just for that, and just know that the story isn't perfect. Um, so, and then the last one on here is: are there any other films you can compare it to? Which I just did. So, Silence of the Lambs and Seven, Kiss the Girls. What else? I mean, any of those thrillers that are out there. I mean, Suspect Zero is a good one with Ben Kingsley. That's a good one. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I would check this movie out. So The Snowman. Just remember, it's not perfect, not perfect at all, but I did enjoy it. I'm happy to have it in my collection. I think 3 out of 5 snowmen is pretty good. Um, I almost was expecting, as the film's called The Snowman, that the bodies would be in like these different snowmen that are out there. Um, but that's not the case. It's just somebody gets killed and then the killer makes this snowman. So it's yeah, I would check it out. It's rated R, grisly images, violence, some language, sexuality, and brief nudity. And I will point out, all the women in this are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. You know, Ladies, you do get some good looking guys in here. Just matters if you like Michael Fassbender or J.K. Simmons or some of the other guys in this. But for the guys, we do get some beautiful women in this. And I did not know that Rebecca Ferguson is Swedish. I did not know that. So she fit perfectly, perfectly well in this. So, all right, everybody. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will see you on the next review. So enjoy, be kind to each other, and I will see you on the next one. All right. Bye.